And welcome to another episode of the Nindie Focus Podcast. My name is Roger. Along with me are my good friends and co-hosts Jordan.
Oh, deja vu.
Yeah, and Mike.
Enchanté.
And Phil.
Jordan stole my line, so I feel like we just did this, so let's do it again. And if we mess this all up, let's do it a third time. They say it's the charm.
It is. Welcome back. Phil was delayed, and I don't know what was wrong there, but now we're all back, we think.
Not a nice thing to say about me.
I know. Welcome to the show. Today we are talking about, the game that you picked, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Safety first.
Always.
Yeah. I have some thoughts on that game, and I'm excited to talk about it. But before we get into that, switching on the budget game, we will go around and talk about the games that we're currently playing. And there's one game that we will all be talking about at some point, but we'll start with Jordan.
Yeah.
What games are you currently playing?
I put in maybe another half hour or so into Blue Fire, and it was only a half hour because it frustrated me. So again, I'm just going to say it again. It needs a map or like a waypoint for your main quest. I got given a key, looked around for like so long to figure out where the key was supposed to go to, especially when you've unlocked a lot of areas. There's so much to go through. Finally had to look up a walkthrough to figure out where to go. And then once I did that, I got to a boss fight, which was cool. And then I got basically stun locked into the weird thing. Like, you know, when you get knocked into the lava and then like brings you back kind of thing. Yes. So this boss fight is around lava. And so that happened. But when it was bringing me back, the boss's next attack or the like environment, which was moving that could hurt you, was hitting me before my screen was back basically. So I just got like hit 4 times into the lava, one after the other within like 2 seconds. And then I died and I was like, yep, done with this. So I haven't touched it since then because it was frustrating.
Yeah. That's I will say that that is the other frustrating thing in this game for me is the knockback that you can get knocked back in the lava. We mentioned how the battle or the fighting or the battling in this game is probably the weak spot of the game. Right?
Oh yeah.
So, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah. I just realized I never sent you that link. I need to send you that link. Did you go out to the website at all and look for the strategy guide? No. I'll send you that. I mean, it's just cool to look at, even just from the pictures. I love the game is really pretty, and I love looking at just the strategy guide and just looking at that. So I'll send you that. I'll make note of that to make sure I send you that.
Sounds good.
Anything else?
I did put in maybe like 15 or 20 minutes into Transcripted, which I mentioned last week, which is the dual stick shooter plus match 3 game. It actually has voice acting, which I wasn't expecting. It has like an actual story, which I wasn't expecting. I was just expecting full on gameplay. But there's actually a lot of it front loaded, a bit too much, in my opinion. But I don't know how long the game is meant to be, so maybe it's fine. And once you got into the gameplay, it was just gameplay pretty much. It is cool. It's like, I don't know if you've ever played like Zuma or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that for the match 3. So when I thought match 3, I was thinking of like, a lot of like the mobile games, the match 3, where you're like moving them around to like create 3, but it's more like Zuma, where you are making groups of 3. Like in Zuma, you're the frog with a little like colored ball in your mouth and you shoot it at the other balls. And if there's 3 in a row, then they disappear. And then you can like chain them together when the line closes, if there's 3, then it closes. But the cool thing about this one is that because you're like a little spaceship type of thing, you're moving around at the same time, fighting off enemies. And when you destroy some of the enemies, they drop the cubes that you need, the colors, and then you shoot them at the basically the little Zuma colorful line. And you can like shoot them from far away. You'll get gun upgrades as you go, so you can fight off the enemies faster. So there's a lot more to it. It's like an enhanced Zoomer version of Zuma, basically. There's a lot more going on. But yeah, I like it so far. And just from some of the screenshots I've seen and some of the video gameplay I've seen, it gets very crazy later on, like just extremely hectic and like massive lasers and like so many weapons going on and so many enemies. So I'll be curious to see when it gets more to that type of gameplay, because it looks absolutely crazy. But at the start, it's obviously a very, very simple just to get you accustomed to all of it. But yeah, I'm definitely going to put some more time into it.
Yeah, I played a little bit of that too. I thought the same thing you just said too. It was like way too much story, way too much talking in the front of the game. And I was just like, come on. I just want to get through this.
Yeah. But it was cool that I had that because I wasn't expecting it. So, I think you can speed it up if you want to, or stuff like that. And in between each level, you get like a little bit more where like little AI or whoever it is, maybe it's a woman, I forget. We'll talk to you in between before you go to the next level and stuff like that. But yeah, I've basically only just gone through the tutorial bits. But there's enough to it that it can be difficult, but also it's a game that you could like get pretty good at too. So yeah, I would say check it out. I forgot how much I got it for. I think it was like $2 or something. You said you got it for free because of some bundle type of thing. So
yeah. So it was, what was that? It was like one of the indie packages, right? So you get 3 games in one. And it was really cheap. I don't remember how much it was, but normally it's like $40. So, the other thing, Jordan, did you notice? I mean, I don't know if you thought this too, but the AI character that's talking to you reminds me a little bit of 2001, where he's like, that's not possible, Dave. Like it just kind of feels that same kind of feel. I don't know.
Yeah,
but cool. Anything else?
That's it.
What about you, Mike?
So actually, I played just a little bit of that game too.
Okay.
Like seriously, just probably about 10-15 minutes of it. And I was surprised at how like well it was put together.
Yeah.
It was not what I was expecting. When you're spending $3.99 on 3 games, you're just expecting, like some straightforward, I'm not going to say that they're not put together well, but not a huge amount of effort, but I was surprised to hear voice acting.
Yeah.
And it's a very nice effects. I liked
very pretty. Like like all the colors work really well.
A lot of dialogue, a lot of story in this. This was very pleasantly surprising. So I'm looking forward to trying this one out some more.
Did you play any of the other ones, Mike?
No, just that one.
Yeah. Okay. Me either.
Other than that, I mean, this has been like a really weird week for me because I haven't focused this much on Donkey Kong ever. So I'll just put things into context. Roger and I are part of Retro Game Brew's Donkey Kong competition. And I know Donkey Kong's not an indie game, so don't get me started on that. But by sheer chance, Donkey Kong was also the retrospective on the Controller Throwers podcast.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was a sheer coincidence. And then by another sheer coincidence, we got this new game called Castle Kong.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of time into that. I figured, if I'm practicing, this will be this will count. And Castle Kong is it's definitely an homage to Donkey Kong. You play as just like, I don't know, like a serf or something like that, or whatever they call them. A peasant.
Yeah.
And looks like rich, or I'm assuming rich, but some kind of like prince or king or something like that kidnaps the fair maiden, and you have to climb a castle to rescue her, much like Donkey Kong. And I will say, I'll say this. All right, this is what I'm going to say, and I have no problem admitting to it. But I watched those shows on Nickelodeon, the iCarly and Victorious. But I can say that because my son was watching them at the same time. So that's my excuse, is that I was spending time with him.
Yeah.
And why do I bring up that show? Good question. On that show, they do a really good job of like doing parodies of things. Like all their electronics are Pear. Like, so they have a laptop Pear on it. And, they do a good job of like lampooning like regular stuff. And this game to me was like, if they were playing a video game on one of those shows, this would be the game that they were actually playing.
Oh yeah. That's a good, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really good lampoon or just Donkey Kong like game. I mean, even the music is almost exactly the same, except for like one off key note,
Yeah. Like the little sound effects when you jump over the like anything.
Right.
Yes.
But I will say I found that it was pretty well put together. I thought it was a very good game. It was definitely extremely difficult. But the more you play it, the better you get. So overall, I mean, I enjoyed it, and it's got online leaderboards. And if I'm not mistaken, Roger, you'll tell more about. I guess there's a competition or something.
Yeah.
But I will say, I apologize, I don't know what the price of the game is. But
$7 new. It's $5 currently on sale.
Okay, for $5, it's absolutely worth it. Mm-hmm. It's especially if you like Donkey Kong and you like a challenge. It's a fun game in short bursts. So
I totally agree. Yeah, I'll talk about that in just a little bit here, and then then we can give our high scores too if you guys know your high scores. Anything else, Mike? Though before I move on.
No, that was like I said, I've been focused this week.
Yeah, me too.
Nindie Focus. Yeah.
What about you, Phil?
I of course played some of Castle Kong as well, but I think we're going to do a group conversation on that, judging by what was just said. I obviously played some Safety first, and then I went down the good old backlog of classic indie games, and I played through Donut County.
Oh, very nice. It's a great game.
Yeah, it feels a lot like reverse Katamari Damacy, which I really fell in love with super fast. And the storytelling is very cute, very well done. The animations are all swell. It's a load of fun. It's super quick to play, and I recommend it highly. Nice. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. It was a quick playthrough. Like, you can finish it in 1 to 2 sittings over the course of like 3 hours, maybe. But it's a fun story about a raccoon that thinks that he's playing a mobile game that's not actually a mobile game. It's actually affecting real life, and he's sucking everything down in real life. And it turns out that he like takes down an entire village into a hole 199 feet below the actual town. And then you have to go against the Trash King. And it turns out that, raccoons are just trash hoarders and mischievous and capitalists. And it's really fun and very well done. I thought I'm going to give it another playthrough. Like, I enjoyed it that much.
Nice. No, this is another game that I actually have on my radar to play, so I might have to give that a shot.
It's worth it, man. It's super cute and well animated. It's very fun.
Nice. Cool. Anything else?
I don't think so.
So my week, it looks a lot like Mike's week, because like Mike said, we were getting ready for the Donkey Kong challenge, the RGB Highscore Challenge. And I know that Donkey Kong's not an indie game, but like Mike said, it does play into this Castle Kong, which it was sheer luck that all that kind of lined up with your show talking about, the retrospective. And then we got, a review code for Castle Kong. So yeah, I put some time into that. So we can talk more about that here. We can talk, give all of our thoughts. I know, Mike, you mentioned some stuff here, but I thought the same thing. It's so Donkey Kong. I mean, like, everything about it was it just reminded me so much of Donkey Kong, but it was really well done. I was really impressed with how well it was put together. So my the other thing, how you said it's a parody, I'll just say this too. The thing that always made me laugh was, in Donkey Kong, it says, how high can you get? Right. And then this one is, how low can you get? And I don't know. I thought that was cool. I just, and the music was very, I was just like, oh my goodness, this is so much like Donkey Kong. And even
the level design,
I was just going to say that.
Is very similar.
Exactly. Like the second level, you have these the fire from the candles coming down, and you had the swinging chandelier, and you had to take apart the straps holding down the chandelier. And once you do, it'll land on the king or the prince or whatever this guy is, and smash him. And then you get the princess, and then it starts over with level 2. And the one thing that is a little bit different is in Donkey Kong, you get a hammer, but you can't go up or down ladders with the hammer. You can go up and down ladders with the pitchfork in this one. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was pretty interesting. And then the other thing was that there's letters of Kong throughout the level, and if you get that, I think that's 3,000 points.
It's 3,000 for completion and 300 for the 3 letters beforehand, so for a total of 3,900 points.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So there is, that was the other thing I was going to read real quick. So this game came out on the Switch. Today is the 25th of February, so by the time you listen to this, it is already out. It came out on the 25th, which is today. So if you go to gamerheadspodcast.com, you can see more about the competition that's going on for the game. So the publishers came out with a competition for the game, and or the developers did, one of the two. And the competition is that if you there's a link there that takes you there. There's $3,500 up for grabs, it looks like. So list of prizes here. First to the kill screen. Whoa, more than this. First to the kill screen gets $5,000.
I didn't know there was a kill screen.
I didn't either.
That's how good I am at it.
Highest score other than the kill screen is 1,250. Second highest score is 750. Third highest score is 500. Fourth highest to fifth highest is 250, and then 6 through 10 is $100. So there's the rules out there. You have to own a copy of the game. That means you have to purchase the full game, unlock DLC from the Steam store or other stores than that the game appears on. So Nintendo Switch being one, but yeah, there's a lot of high scores just from the Steam accounts out there. So yeah, you can go to our website, gamerheadspodcast.com. There's a link out there to their site, to Drowning Monkeys, who made this game, and they talk about the tournament that's going on. And I think that goes, it certainly goes from today. I'm not sure when the tournament ends here, but until May 25th, it says. So there you go.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so go check that out. The game, like you guys said, is $7. But you said right now it's on sale, right?
Yeah, it's on sale for $5 right now on the Switch.
Okay. So yeah, if you are a high score person that goes after high scores and you want to see if you can get that high score, something that you might want to try. My high score, so I'll tell you what my high score is. Not very good. It's 15,100.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. Actually, it's pretty close. Mine is 13,600. So
okay.
Jordan, I think this is going to come down to you and I in this case.
I don't even know what mine is. I played it for like 5 minutes, and I was in one of those moods where I was like, I'm not in the mood to just not be very good at a game right now. Like, I don't want to just like watch my guy fall and die.
That was my biggest frustration with the game, is if you fell off of any platform, you died.
Yeah. And there's like a couple, even in the first level, there's that one jump to the moving platform.
Oh, that's tough.
Where like it feels different too, I think, because it does feel like an older game where like the jumps and like the movement are way slower, and like there's not as much like horizontal movement on the jumps. So you have to like actually time it very, very well.
Yeah.
It's like I fell a couple times and I was like, you know what? Not in the mood. So my high score is probably very low. I got to the second level and never beat the second level, so not very high.
In that case, I've got a bunch of stuff. I shouldn't say a bunch of stuff because it's me talking and I normally don't have a bunch of stuff to say, but I have some stuff to add because I finished at 23,300.
Whoa.
Nice.
Which is currently 480th in the world, which is just outside of the pay window. But the second time you go through, so after you beat the first two levels, you go back and play the first level again with the exact same. I shouldn't say the exact same. It adds a second lava dumper thing, and then the guy that also shoots a bow will shoot a cannon when you get up to the top too.
Yes.
So then if you finish the third level and then you go to the second level again, it's a completely different level than it was the first time around. Where there's guys with cannons and a guy with a cannon and a giant knight right below him, and then there's a crow that also chases you that you have to avoid. And I didn't make it past that level, so I guess the furthest I've made it's level 4. But I was expecting it to be the exact same level as it was the first time through. I should say, I was expecting it to be the same level the second time, the first time through, whatever. But the fourth level is different than the second level, damn it, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, that's how it is in Donkey Kong too, right? Isn't the second time through, the second level is the elevator one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So they're sticking true to Donkey Kong.
Yeah. It would be interesting if you make it past that one, if it's then the chandelier one, because that's what happens in Donkey Kong, I think, right?
Actually, and I'm going to throw this out there because that was one other thing that Phil, you made me remember. I don't know if it was just me, but for the rest of you, with that first level, did you find it hard to see the arrows sometimes as they were flying at you?
No, because I was playing docked, so I don't really have problems seeing much of anything for the most part on the Switch.
I was playing docked too, so
yeah,
but I could see in handheld.
There was a bit of issue. Yeah, it was a bit tough. None of them hit me, but it was one of those things where I think they didn't hit me not because I was aware of them and was dodging them perfectly. It was just I was just happened to not get hit by them.
Right place, right time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I will say I think I would rather take on barrels than that lava because sometimes it went straight down, and sometimes it would form a blob that would come after you.
Oh yeah,
that was tough.
The timing on the cannons is pretty difficult too once you make it to that portion of it. I'm gonna keep plugging away at this and see what I can do. I'm curious. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, for a Donkey Kong clone, I mean, I don't know what else to call it, right? A parody, I guess. It's really well done.
It's a good 15 minute. I got 15 minutes to kill. I'm going to play this instead of Ding Dong XL or Amazing Brick Breaker.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, my place is 860th in the world. Yeah.
I've probably dropped to 520th since we started recording this.
I will say the number one score in the world is 1,110,800.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, I don't. That's crazy. In the top 10 places look to be from Steam because they're all. It's kind of cool.
It's all got PC icons.
Yeah, it's all PC icons next because the Switch has the Switch icon next to it, or the controller icons, the Switch controller icons, or Joy-Cons, as some people call them. I don't know who calls them that, but some people do. The only thing I wish with it's cool that they have a leaderboard. I wish they would show you how you compare to your friends. Like, you know how some leaderboards do that. Here's the world ranking. Here's regional ranking. Here's how you rank with your friends. That's one thing I wish that they had there. But it's cool that they do have a leaderboard. But
it is strange that when you do have a leaderboard, you would think that you would just be like, oh yeah, we should add these other leaderboards in too. Yeah. Like for games where it's like the whole goal is the leaderboard, it would be nice to be able to see your friends' scores. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the first thing I did. I was like, oh, how to compare to everybody else? I'm like, I can't see that.
And I feel like if you could, they would get people to play longer too, because you'd be like, oh, I got really close to my friend's score. I'm going to try it one more time.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that Pinball FX does really well is they've got a friends leaderboard. Yes. Where, so if you see that you're chasing a friend's score, you just keep going until you beat your friend or whatever. That's really well done. And maybe they'll add it with time with a patch or something too. It's tough to say.
Yeah. But yeah, check it out. And like I said, go to our website. It's under the news section. It's called Castle Kong, and you can see all about that contest. It goes until, did I say that the 22nd? Did I say, or 15th?
I think you said the 25th or something like that.
25th of May. Yeah. So cool. That's Castle Kong. That's really, I mean, like Mike is in the same boat as Mike. That's really what I've been playing because of the fact that we've been practicing for Donkey Kong. It's just a weird week. It was a Donkey Kong week. So, one other thing about Castle Kong, which I thought was kind of cool too, is even the font is very similar to Donkey Kong. You know how the O has the star for Donkey Kong? The O for Castle Kong is a little crown. So pretty cool. All right, so let's move into then our switching on the budget game. And Phil, this was your pick.
Sure.
Why don't you tell us more about this game?
I'll just go ahead and quickly kind of read through the recap as given on the Nintendo eShop, or whatever you want to call it. Safety First is a twin stick puzzle shooter in which you have to fix broken electrical wires using your magical yellow repair liquid. Get ready for a challenging journey, blah, blah, blah. Can you beat all 69 levels, blah, blah, blah. Grandma turned up radio too loud, broke a bunch of wires. You got to go fix them with your magical yellow repair liquid. Cool. That's the basic recap.
Wait, did they really call this a twin stick shooter game?
Twin stick puzzle, I think. Puzzler is what they called it. I might have said shooter because there was a lot of blah, blah, blahs involved.
Well, and there's some shooting, I guess.
Maybe that's why I said shooter.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, technically shooter.
But there are 3 different ways that you can play it, as well as 3 different, what do you want to call them? Hell, I don't know. Level groupings? Yes, level groupings. So essentially, your 2 joysticks control your character's legs, at which point you have to deploy your magical yellow repair liquid inside of these holes with great accuracy, because that's how you fix holes.
Yes,
or I should say electrical fissures. Yes, we'll go with fissures.
Can I just say one thing, though, with that?
Yeah, man, you're going to be far more well-versed in talking than I am, because clearly I can't talk.
No. I was just going to say, kids at home, please don't try this at home. Like this game.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've tried fixing everything in the neighborhood in the last week, okay?
Using this method.
Yeah. Especially electrical, do not use this method. Whatever you do, don't use this method.
I will say, because when we saw the screenshots last week, we were like making fun of how it looked and everything. I will say this is the perfect example of not judging a book by its cover.
Yep.
Because this game is so much fun, and it looks bad. Like, I guess because it's so simple. Like your little dude is just like a little like basically stick figure with like joints, and like your arms flail around and your legs flail around. It's like it's kind of like Quap, that like running game a long time ago, but like not as difficult, but hard enough where you need to focus and like, move your feet and legs in a certain way, or like you'll get crushed, or like if you stretch too far, your leg will pop off with a little bit of blood.
You can let that little bit of blood pile up if you don't hit the button. Like, you can shoot up mass amounts of blood, I discovered.
Oh yeah. I did not know that.
It's definitely not as easy as it looks, because the physics in it are very, very wonky.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, your magical yellow repair liquid is pee. My girlfriend was watching me play today, and she walks into the room and goes, "Is that your character's wiener? Are you peeing on things?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this game's rad." And she's great. Like, "You play some of the weirdest games." And then she watches me start playing it, and she's like, "Okay, this is pretty amusing." I'm like, "Do you want to try it?" And she tried it, and she's like, "This is so difficult to control." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's nowhere near as easy as it looks like it should be." Yeah, because those physics are just weird.
What's interesting is that so like the 3 modes you talked about, there's like different like physics too. So one of them is the first one that you start with is that you can like basically fly in the air if you want. Like you can just like, if you jump like up, you can just like fly around. And I found it interesting that was the main thing they put you on first, because it feels like it should have been what the second one is, which is you can only move 1 foot at a time. Like to me, it feels like, okay, that would be the normal game. And then it would unlock this weird, like you can fly around mode. Right. So it's interesting that it does it that way. But I think also it's because it technically is a lot easier when you can just kind of like fly up into space as opposed to 1 at a time. And then the third mode is low gravity, like space mode, where you can like properly fly around and float and like attach your feet to like the ceiling and stuff like that, which was pretty fun. And did you guys also try the was it the German mode or whatever, or like where it's like heavy metal, like German music. When you die, you say like German curse words, and instead of pee, it's brown. So
use your imagination.
And you're drunk. Like the screen is like moving the entire time too, so it makes it really difficult to do anything.
Wow, I did not play that mode.
Yeah, it unlocks. How does the German part fall into that?
I have no idea, but it's pretty wonderful.
Yeah. And then there's also the other one that's you move faster and the physics are all super fast. Like it's like that one's very difficult.
Yeah, after the initial, and even the initial 30 levels weren't necessarily easy. After about the first 10 or so, the difficulty definitely ramps up. And then once you get into once you start playing the other modes, and even the second one where it's 1 leg at a time, it's a lot more complicated at that point. I think I only made it through like 10 of those levels or so before I was just like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I got through. I got through all 29 of the classic. For the advanced, I'm currently on 29 out of 31.
Oh wow!
But 29 is just destroying me. I don't even know how many times I've tried it at this point. Like it is so difficult. There's a lot of like rotating platform type things. It's like when you put your weight on them, they go the other way. But it's like you'll know when you get there. It's the 29th level. I've probably tried it like 50 times by now, and I've gotten close a couple, but it's very difficult. And then the space, I just did the first couple of tutorials just to like see what it is. But it looks like there's only like 6 of those or so, maybe.
Yeah, I think I did the first 2 or 3 levels in space as well.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know how many there is. I can only see up to 6, so there may be way more.
More of the story is it's really fun to pee on things.
Yeah,
that would have been a good name for the game too.
Yeah, that's right. I will say, like, I mean, it's not. I would probably not allow my kids to play this game, but it's not like terrible. It's just there's some levels I was like, really, you named it that? Okay.
But most of those are super subtle.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Some maybe the one that you shared, and the one that I was like, what? They named it that.
I don't see a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going for the goal, and it's glorious.
Now I'm gonna look through all the names because now I'm like, what are they?
I was pleasantly surprised about this game, though. It's very challenging, and when I sat down with it, I was like, okay, this is a joke. And then I was like, oh no, this is not a joke. This is hard. This is really difficult.
Yeah, but like it's fun.
And it is fun.
Yeah.
Not very frustrating. I mean, it's frustrating, but not to the point where you're ready to chuck a controller or something because you're like, this stupid game is broken or whatever.
But,
like it's just
keep
like
trying.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it gets frustrating, but at the same time, it's funny frustrating. It reminds me of, did anybody ever play Flat Out? It was a racing game where you can launch your driver through the windshield.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
It reminds me of that. It's just a silly game. And I like that. I enjoyed that. It's definitely a lot of fun. The only thing that I had was, and this might be me, but were you able to stop and restart a level, or did you just have to die in order to restart it?
You can take your own head off.
Yeah, you just press X.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and your head just pops off. And
that's even better than pressing start. And oh man.
Yeah, you just push X and your head flies off.
And you get an achievement for that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's also fun when you get the orange blocks into play that you can then move around too, because like the sword in the stone level was really sweet. The way you had to kind of kick it up and you had to keep scooting closer to kick the sword out before you could actually put out the current down there. It got a little bit difficult too once your magical yellow restoration liquid started growing and you had to kind of like jump on it and ride it and balance, and move it. Like that got a little bit weird, but it wasn't a bad weird. It was just like, okay, now I got to figure out the physics for this. Yeah,
it was just a increase in difficulty. It was just like, okay, you figured out all that stuff. Now here's something completely new. And I think the cool thing about this game is that there's some levels that we probably played exactly the same way. And then there are probably, honestly, I would say the majority of levels, we probably all completed a very different way, just based on how the physics work and like, which thing we decided to like fix first, or, how we situated our feet on what thing and what legs to shoot, like there isn't just like a one solution. The solution is to get the yellow liquid in there, but like there's a lot of ways you can do it.
Yeah.
I think that's the best part.
This game kind of reminds me a little bit of What the Golf in a way, because there is, at first you're just, you're you're peeing in holes, but then later on there's like the basketball level where you have to like shoot like a blob of pee into a basketball or into the hole, right? And then there was the catapult one, which I thought was really interesting. And then there's the garbage compactor one, and it was interesting because they took all these different ways that you could
transport urine.
Yeah, exactly. And made it into a game. I would recommend this game for people to play because I do think it's a lot of fun. And
absolutely would.
Especially at the price that it's at. It's dirt cheap for being that entertaining of a game.
Yeah. The only thing is, like, again, I don't think I could have my kids play it because I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I can't.
For me, it's not so much the pee because it really is just like
it's not
a yellow ball, but the blood and stuff. I could see it being like, it's a bit much. But I would say this is a game that is a perfect example of a very, very simple like premise or gameplay, and then just making it very, very fun and like just changing up the levels. And it's essentially a puzzle game, but with difficult movement.
Yeah, and I did. And it was cool. There was different achievements that you can get. Like one was I spent so many hours or so many tries on this one level, and there was an achievement for that.
It was like called Dark Souls or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I just turned mine back on right now to check the levels, and I was in a level, and I just got an achievement, and it was like for being idle in a level for 2 minutes.
Oh, that's so cool.
Those are the achievements I like.
Yeah.
I guess my one gripe would be that, or that you got something for them too, like not even necessarily points, but like maybe different skins, different heads, different.
I would have liked,
legs.
different colors, different like hats, you know, like different. Yeah, that would have been nice actually. That would be one addition I would have liked to see.
It's funny because I think, Phil, when you picked this game, like we weren't quite sure. You know,
I thought it was going to be terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. When you all go look after hearing us talk about it, you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, "This looks terrible," and it's not. We're here to
then spend the $3 on it and have a really good time with it. And chuckle.
It'll be so worth it.
Yeah. And I think it might even still be on sale for $1.99 for another day or three. I'm not 100% certain. Well, probably not by the time this releases, so you missed out on that. Sorry. But not if you listened last week and bought it on our recommendation to play along with us.
That's right.
Yep, it ends on the 28th.
Okay. Yeah.
But then it goes up to $3. It only goes it's $1.99 right now, and it goes up to $3. For $3 full price, I would still recommend this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You'll get $3 worth of chuckles out of it.
Easily.
And I think I said this to you guys, but the publisher for this, if I remember correctly, is the same publisher that did Dead End Job, wasn't it? Dead End Job, yeah. Heads Up.
Yeah, I just looked at they did a lot actually. They did Pumpkin Jack, which we talked about and played. Like they've actually done quite a few. There's like 23 on here, it looks like. If you've heard of like Bridge Constructor Portal, they did that one. They did Runbow. They have a good amount of ones. They did the Bridge Constructor Walking Dead one.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's all the same publisher. The developer, this is the only one on the site I'm looking at least.
Okay.
Good first outing, I say.
Yeah. No,
it's
I mean,
good number one.
Also, funnily enough, it came out on April Fool's Day when it came out. So that's
really
like it seems like the perfect day for a game like this to come out. Actually,
is it pretty old? I don't even know what year it came out.
2019.
Okay.
So coming up on 2 years.
Yeah, that's so cool. Good pick, Phil.
Yeah, Thanks. It was. Didn't expect it to be, but honestly, it's one of my favorite of this year so far.
Sometimes my broken humor pays off.
That's right. It's interesting too. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think we haven't had many games so far that we have disagreed on this year. Certainly last year, but this year,
I don't think there's been any this year that we have. No,
there hasn't. Has there? Whose pick is it this week? Is it Mike's?
Yeah,
I do believe it is.
Okay.
And speaking of agreeing on things, I think we're going to really, really enjoy when we talk about Outlast.
Oh.
Unfortunately, it's not on sale, so we'll have to save that for another conversation.
Oh, Jesus.
I was all excited there for a minute, Mike.
I was already thinking of my excuses on why I'm not going to play it.
So,
wait. Oh, Outlast. Never mind.
You're thinking Outer Worlds?
Yes.
That is definitely not the same.
Way different game,
a little bit
man.
different.
It's like, really? We're gonna play that game? No, Outlast. Yeah. No, I will skip that episode. Thank you.
We will. That just makes me want to choose the game even more. So
that's you and I recording that week, Mike. I think.
You saw me with Layer of Fears. I don't know why I bought that game. I'm never doing that again. That was foolish.
So for the game that I picked this week, there were a few categories that I wanted it to fall in. I wanted it to be a game that's on sale for a long time. So this one's on sale until March 17th.
Oh, wow.
So you've got a long time to get it. Wanted to find a game that had a really good discount, and this one right now is 85% off. So It's $2.24 on the eShop right now. And I also wanted to find a game that was almost like arcade-like, but not too deep. So it's not like we're in some kind of deep story or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And this game is like this. This game is kind of like an arcade game almost. So in this game, I'll read the description. Actually, I'll just say the name. You tell me if you've heard of it. The name of the game is called Tawaga Among Shadows.
No.
I remember seeing it.
Can't say I have.
I watched. Well, let me read the description. So, fight the final battle and save your tribe from annihilation at the hands of true evil. People's fate is in your hands. Can you do it? No, it's not one of those. That's the only typo. That's the only typo.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
Will you manage this task? Tawaga Among Shadows is an action-packed game where your skill and perseverance will be severely tried. Atop the sacred temples, learn to master the light and exorcise hordes of enraged creatures firmly set upon tearing you to shreds. Ooh. Discover devastating spells, improve your abilities, and unlock new outfits, granting you the power to fight Metnal the Voidmonger and his Legion of Darkness. Progress through over 60 levels and experiment 4 different game modes while uncovering the mysterious past of the Azkalar through many story-driven unlockable artifacts. Explore an enchanted land with graphics and cinematics inspired by animated movies, all the while feasting your ears on an immersive soundtrack accompanying your every action in this mystical world where defeat is not an option. Compete with your friends, rise to the top of the leaderboard, and show your valor by triumphing from the vast range of achievements that will stand in your way. Who will be the one to vanquish the shadows and return peace to the island?
Nice. Not me. Probably not me.
I just some screenshots. It looks cool.
I just want a podcast of Mike reading game descriptions.
Yeah,
no kidding, I really want out of life.
That's right.
They say that it's inspired by animated movies, and yes, I watched a trailer for it, and you know how much of a sucker I am for good 2D animation. This looks very pretty. So I'm looking forward to trying this out. Essentially, it looks like you're on top of a pyramid and use the right directional stick to fire energy beams out of your hands. And you're stationary, but you use the right stick to move your arm. And you have to, it's almost like tower defense, but you're not like building anything, I don't think. But I guess you like level up and get different powers and different abilities, things like that. But
yeah, it looks really cool. It looks
also,
really
this is lowest all-time best price too. So
there we go.
Yeah, it's normally what is this $14.90? Yeah, $14.99 normally, right? So, yeah, this looks really cool. I'm excited for this game.
Yeah, Tawaga Among Shadows, Towaga. If you're checking it out on the eShop.
So I just looked up the publisher. They actually publish quite a few games out there. They published the game, Phil, Ultimate Ski Jumping 2020.
That game ruled.
There you go.
And also they publish Panzer Dragoon Remake too. So yeah, very cool. I'm excited. I'm excited to play this game. This looks really, really, really cool. Yeah, I never heard of this game before.
Neither did I. I didn't know. Like that's why when I went to Deku, I looked. I separated everything by discount percentage. Actually, no. I went by when the sale ends. So I looked at the ones that are on sale the longest, and then I went by percentage.
Yeah.
It's moderately new too. It's only about 7-8 months old.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, number of offline players 1 to 4. That's really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll be curious how that works.
So it says main story about 3 hours to beat. So yeah, very cool. So that's what we're playing next week. Good. I mean, I don't want to say good.
Yeah, don't say that just yet.
Yeah. It looks cool.
And Roger cursed it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When I think I might have said, good pick, Phil, with safety first. So maybe I did curse it. Cool. We'll talk about that.
Curse when you said, good pick about safety first sarcastically and it turned out good. That's blessing it.
That's true. That is true. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. So
awesome.
All right. Before we head out, then let's go around and tell people how they can get a hold of us. So we'll start with you, Phil. How can people get a hold of you?
I'm at Twitter at BNow23.
Nice. And Mike, how can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at TCThrowers and at twitch.tv/TCThrowers. Thank you.
And Jordan, how can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at CrypticJordan.
And listeners, you can find us on Twitter at GamerheadsPC or at Focus Nindie. You can also go to our website at gamerheadspodcast.com, where you can find this show along with other shows like the Controller Throwers podcast. You can also find shows like the Real Dudes podcast, the Gamerheads podcast, and the Bells and Roses podcast, and Animal Crossing podcast. And you can also read our reviews. I'll have a review of Castle Kong on our site, so you can read that. And I'm finishing up my review for Blue Fire too, so that'll be on the site as well. So check it out. All right. Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us this week.
I had fun. I keep forgetting what Phil and Jordan's catchphrases are, and I don't, and I try not to steal them. So I'm like,
I don't think do we
another
have
40 episodes and you'll get it.
No, yeah. Phil, I don't have a catchphrice for this part. Jordan does, but Jordan I don't have one for this.
It's a one word. It's not a catchphrase. It's just
it's just it's
just what I say.
It's an acknowledgement.
It's like that's something I'm trying to get people to say out there. Come on, Zoomers, pick up my catchphrase.
It's whatever word you say.
Always.
Jordan, thank you so much for joining us.
Always.
And Phil, thank you so much for joining us.
I was just thinking this might have been one of our more serious episodes with the least amount of laughter, and then Mike goes and drops that at the end, and everybody has to correct him that there's only certain times that certain people use certain things.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get my partying out of the way. Take care, everybody.
Wait, before we go, Phil, I have to say, I want my signed
you signed beer can?
Yes, exactly.
I've got an empty one next to me. I'm working on another one.
Phil is famous now. He's a famous chef.
No, I'm a famous background model. You can see my shining forehead from 25 feet away because of how big the damn thing is, and because how much I sweat when I'm at work.
They're like, this is a perfect photo, except Phil's in it. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah. Can we just blur him out a little bit? Awesome.
And listeners, thank you so much for giving us a listen. We really appreciate it. If you like what you hear, leave us a review. We'd love to hear what you have to say about the show. Until next week, please stay safe and game on. We'll talk to you next week, Monday. See ya.
So long.
Always.
Bye.